pyramids. This is during the time that pyramid power was the rage. We were hikers. The theory was that you put food under pyramids, it'll dehydrate it, and so on and so forth. So we built pyramids and did a lot of experiments and had them all over the kitchen. When Ramtha appeared as glittering light, like you would take a handful of glitter and drop it through a ray of sunlight. And what do you do? Sunday afternoon, it's not midnight. The only thing I could say was, "You're so beautiful, who are you?" And a big broad smile came across that beautiful face and said, "I am Ramtha, the Enlightened One, and I've come to help you over the ditch."
Lady would soon learn that the ditch referred to her own limitations and fears, and so began a long and difficult process of learning how to prepare her body to channel Ramtha, whose insight, compassion and wit would soon touch many lives.
Can you describe the channeling process to us? What is channeling?
Channeling is where a body has actually been vacated by its initial owner, and a higher intelligence, much more regal intelligence, can use the same body for whatever reason to change, interfere, create, or reassemble reality on a level that the original inhabitants couldn't do that. So I said, so if I'm going to die, which is a sort of a frightening concept, what's going to happen to my body? So we're going to show the world how to be God.
You are in the school to uncover what is already there. We don't have to create God. We only have to discover it, something that is already the truth.
And how does Ramtha actually come in?
I usually take 2 hours. I get my entire body ready. I pull my hair back. I put on appropriate clothes. And then once I'm ready, I like to sit down. It's in front of a fire, really quiet. I don't want anybody bothering me, because then I get to move into an experience. I've been there so many times. I can go there where it's quiet. I get at peace with everything around me. And the moment that I know he's there, I start this process that is the sacred process of leaving your body in about a half a second. And I go through that process, and I already hear him, and I proclaim this, and he'll tell me, you know, go on, all things are well, God is served.
It was in the early 80s that J.D. Knight and her family moved here to the rural community of Yelm, which is just about 2 hours outside of Seattle, Washington. It's a conservative community, and they weren't prepared for the seemingly radical ideas that would one day make it famous throughout the world.
The emergence of the school caused quite a ripple in the community, and it caused quite a ripple with all of these church-going folk. And of course, we were demons, we were this and that, but we helped the congregation, poor people in the congregation. We sent their illiterate children to college on full-paid scholarships, and started helping out, and we didn't go away, and lightning didn't strike us, and we're still here, and we've made wealthy people out of former paupers. And so in one way, they say now, God works in mysterious ways. We cannot become near to God in giving our power away to a concept that there was only one Son of God, for it begs the question, then who are you?
As is often the case when a new philosophy threatens the belief structure of a society, J.D. and the school found themselves under attack from the skeptics. After some negative news sensationalism, they no longer allowed television crews access to the premises.
Reporters in this country stopped reporting and started creating. Everything was hysterical. Everything had a devil edge to it. All because of politics, and religious politics at that. So I just stopped doing interviews.
How can we feel forsaken?
But the skeptics never let up. So it was J. Gordon Melton, a staunch Methodist and author of 25 books on religion, including one on Ramtha's school, who decided that the matter should be laid to rest once and for all.
Professor, I understand you were instrumental in getting 12 scholars to study Jay-Z while she was channeling Ramtha and the School of Enlightenment. How did you convince Jay-Z to undergo this testing?
We had some discussions about kind of a continuing problem that she had faced personally with people sniping at her, suggesting that she was faking all of this. Now, I had already come to the conclusion that she wasn't faking it. I'd seen enough, and I'd seen enough different trance channelers over the years. So I said to her that, there's a simple way to take care of that problem. Let's invite some psychologists, and let's hook you up and test you under trance. See what's going on.
I left my body, and there's Ramtha. He came in so fast, the computer could not adjust for as fast as he came in. And if you were to imagine a television screen like this, and my baseline eyes open, my baseline eyes closed, but the moment I left my body, he's down here. The slow point, the computer had to refigure that distance, because suddenly every one of those 9 channels reading my body changed that quickly. The greatest yogis in the world can't do that.
What these tests did was saying that you may not believe in Ramtha, but at least there are 2 things that you can't say about Jay-Z. One is that she's faking it, because these are very real changes that she could not fake. They're impossible. And secondly, that it's a pathological phenomenon. There is no pathology that was detected.
Headlines in the newspaper, Jay-Z night, not frog. One of the great moments in my 20 years. I've lived all this time knowing that. And it took science, not intellect, not religion, to finally recognize that there's something extraordinary here.
An ordinary woman with extraordinary views. When we come back, Front Row goes inside the school to see what really goes on. The first Ramtha, the 35,000-year-old warrior teacher who achieved enlightenment and now offers spiritual guidance to students from around the world by channeling through the body of 53-year-old Jay-Z Knight. We're about to witness the techniques taught at Ramtha's School of Enlightenment, and this is the first time a crew has ever been allowed to film and broadcast these events on television.
This building was originally a riding arena on the ranch, and it's been converted into a meeting hall where Ramtha addresses his students. Well, tonight will be the first television crew ever to go in with our own cameras and film this unique event. Technically, the retreat was only due to start the following morning, but Ramtha had decided to make an unscheduled appearance that evening. Word spread through Yelm like wildfire, and the arena soon began to fill up with students, each with their own numbered square on the carpet. The air of excitement was quite tangible as the group awaited their much-loved teacher, and the front row team eagerly anticipated finally seeing Ramtha in person. As 60s rock music pumped through the numerous speakers, he finally arrived, and the students erupted with enthusiasm.
Greetings, my beautiful masters! Greetings! I salute you from the Lord God of my being to the Lord God of your being. Greetings!
And if we thought we'd be able to record the proceedings unnoticed from the sidelines, we were very mistaken.
Today, with entities from South Africa and representatives who are tonight in this audience, you may welcome them. Beautiful.
But there'd be plenty more surprises in store for us before the night was through, like witnessing the liberal drinking of red wine. Not unusual in religious ceremonies, perhaps, but we were taken aback nonetheless. The wine, however, is used for a very important reason. It supposedly creates a chemical reaction in the brain, allowing students to drop their facades and absorb more of the teachings.
I have never been drunk in my entire life until I had a little bit of wine the first time. I mean, the most I'd ever had was maybe a glass or 2 of wine. But then I understood what happened, that I was learning in a way that I'd never understood before. Time was stopping, And Ramtha would be teaching incredible knowledge for 16 hours, and I would feel that it was an hour. And I would not remember everything the next day, but as the day progressed, knowledge would be flooding through me, and I would be seeing what I hadn't seen before.
More of our preconceptions went up in smoke a little later, as Ramtha began puffing away on his pipe, followed promptly by most of his students.
There is a chemical process with the wine and the pipe that opens the brain and allows us to perceive what we hadn't perceived when the personality is reigning, which is what happens with us most of the time.
Are you waiting till your children are grown?
But smoking and drinking formed a minor part of the evening, in which Ramtha spoke fluently on a wide range of topics, from spirituality to sex, physics to psychology. The students hung on to his every word. Some even made notes, while translators were kept busy translating for the many foreign students. As for me, well, the red wine seemed to be having the opposite of its intended effect. Nevertheless, I was up bright and early next morning to learn about the school's practices. Central to all exercises at the school is the practice of consciousness and energy, or C&E as it's known, which enables students to induce an alpha state for extended periods without falling asleep.
For all things are known, past, future, present.
They're sending and receiving, is what we call it. It's basically being able to enhance psychic awareness, the ability to pick up another person's thought, the ability to know another person or yourself's future.
There are a number of game-like practices which train students to focus their consciousness in pursuit of manifesting their dreams or desires.
Now I'm looking out a field over there, and there's all this heavy breathing going on. What exactly are they doing?
One of the basic disciplines is called the consciousness and energy breath technique, and it's used to change the energy in the body, to actually elevate the energy in the body so that you can utilize a different part of the brain in order to focus and bring about realities into physical manifestation. Whatever dream they want, they draw a picture or a symbol that represents something that they want to bring into their life. And that's what they utilize and they focus on in their brain while they're walking across the field. And whether they're bumping into people or walking through a stream in the middle of the field or distracted by hunger or whatever it is, the purpose is to be able to hold that dream irrespective of physical tiredness, whatever it is, and to hold that dream until they run into that card. And when they do, that card is going to be a part of their life in a very short period of time.
And I've just heard a rather joyful cry. What was that?
That's a person who's applied the technique of field work properly, and out of a couple of thousand cards, they may have 2 up on the fence, and they've run into their card, which means to us that they're utilizing the part of the brain that can manifest that card into physical reality. We do a thing called the labyrinth, which is a large structure on the other side of the field, and people make their way through it. It's all done with blindfolds. And again, to make your way to a specific place in the tank called the void, and your focus is on that. It shows us that our thought creates our reality.
Those arrows are extensions of your thought and are going to go where your thoughts go.
Blindfolded archery is another practice designed to sharpen focus and intent.
Load your first arrow.
Obviously, this was a very difficult discipline, as I didn't see anyone even get close to the target, until Audrey decided to give us a demonstration. After spending 3 fascinating days at Ramtha School of Enlightenment, I don't know if I believe in the Ramtha phenomenon or not, but what I do know is that the people I've spoken to have experienced real and fundamental change and have had their lives enhanced by Ramtha's teachings. And I say, what more can you...